G'day mates and welcome back to Blxz Aldrin, Space Program Manager, Soviet Campaign. Alrighty, let's end the turn. I think we did everything at the end of this turn. Let's move on. Okay, the Sputnik is looking pretty good. It's about 73%. Whereas the rocket is falling behind a little bit, although it's actually improving slower. The rocket is falling behind a bit. So hopefully this current team will pick it up. Oh, that's pretty decent. A small saving in money, especially when early on when money is very important. Well, let's see, I think everyone is going well, but still training. We have our best people on. Best people. We have our people on. And we have another 9 turns. So this is a small problem. So Remy's welcome back again. Okay, so I don't know if that's actually picking up in the video or not. But if so, say hello Remy. Now, what was I going to be doing? It would probably be worthwhile training our people a bit. I mean, you are fairly rubbish. It's actually, you're doing 0.8, which is not... Actually, you know what? 0.8 is not that much in the grand scheme of things. It won't make or break. So I'm going to train you. I'm actually going to train you in space probes just because it may be handy in a couple of turns to get a little bit more out of you. So let's move on. Okay, one more turn. I think I will consider launching that. This one as well should be nearly there. Now I'll put Steam on busy, and for some reason the pop-ups are still coming. High production values. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter too much. Bit of free advertising. Remy also has a YouTube channel, so make sure to check him out. Remy Down Under. It's actually a pretty good Let's Player. Definitely better production values than I have. So worthwhile checking out. There you go mate, gave you a plug. Should be happy for it. Now the Sputnik 1 program. I'd like to look at getting Sputnik 2 as well. I wonder how we can do this. Let's think about this. We've got... This one is getting up there. One more turn, we'll put it at the 80% threshold, which is what I want to go with. Definitely a little bit harder. I can't just throw my money around. Thing is, if I fail, there is a significant knockback. But if I go too slow, the Americans will actually beat me as well. Sputnik 1 has a regular and an extended mission. How are we going to do this? For now, I am going to let this go for one more season. Okay, you're up good. You are growing slowly, but I am probably tempted because these early missions don't have a lot of steps to them, and this rocket may be reliable enough to send them up. And given that everybody has just finished training, it could be worthwhile. So let's have a quick look what we're doing here. You are going to train in your leadership again. You are also going to get your leadership in again. It really is the most important stat early on. It's used for pretty much every single role everywhere, even if they're non-leaders. You guys can stay where you are. I might use you. Who is free? You are crewed spacecraft. That's actually a pretty good amount, although... How am I going to do this? Let me think about it. Alrighty, I am back. Had a small issue with the cat, but we're all good. Now, what am I thinking of doing? You know, I'm probably inclined to try a launch. Let's see what happens. If I fail, then I fail. That would kind of suck. You know what we're going to do is we're not going to waste any more time. Sputnik 1 is basically done. I would hope it works. If it doesn't, we have some problems. And we're going to use the same Sputnik rocket. Now let's move into the R&D components. Nope. Over here. We're actually going to take you two off. I'm going to move you straight down to Sputnik 2. You are still pretty crappy, but you'll be moving into crewed rockets later. And then you'll be the leader in the field. So these guys, so this one here has a 27.4% reliability just straight out of the bat, out of the gate. Because we've already got this one up, we understand the basics. This is only marginally more complicated. It does have a dog in it, I believe. This had Laika, the Russian dog, which is a little bit unfortunate. Dog will not be coming back in one piece. But it doesn't matter. We will get this sorted. What I think we're going to do now is try launching this program. Do we go the extended one? It's not going to give us... It's going to give us 1600 as opposed to 1400. I reckon we go the smaller one. And there's fewer things that can go wrong. Yet the rocket is below 80%. But it doesn't matter. We will hope for the best. Put our propulsion for you on. And our flight director, Mr. Pushkin, is on there. Confirm the assignments. Cost us a bit, but we are going to launch off. Meanwhile, our remaining people can pretty much go back and train. You get your payloads up, you get your trajectory stuff up, and that will be useful later. Okay, let's end turn and see what happens. Okay, the rocket is 78 by the time we launch. That's pretty good. And you are shooting up, and because we can put you on the same rocket, it would be good to get this done up very quickly. We can get it before the end of this pay period. Now let's go. What I'm going to be doing is, early on, I plan on watching these through, but I will, perhaps later on, once launches get a bit more repetitive, cut out my commentary and just speed through them. We have a fairly low average chance. Let's see how this goes. Launch preparations. And so if you haven't seen my original LP of the NASA version, essentially what they do is they're testing the part reliability across with the three people we've got here. Flight director will never light up, but they are being used to every single thing. Booster and spacecraft, one's currently being used for here, although booster will not be used later. If something goes wrong, it'll start to flash green, and these people will have a chance to fix it. Booster's not being used anymore, but they will have a chance to fix it based on their skill. If that fails, it'll pop up and they'll have another chance. I'll have a choice of different things I can do. Mission successful. I'll have a choice of different things that I can do, and they will get one more chance to try and fix it and salvage the problem. If that fails, the entire mission is gone. But in this case, we succeeded. We actually did very well for ourselves. And the rocket actually improved in quality. We learnt perhaps from a few of the mistakes that were happening, and we now are better off at using this. And Sputnik 1 itself upgraded as well, not that we plan on ever using it again. And our booster and systems person leveled up a little bit. And it appears we were the first ones to get something in orbit. We beat the Americans. And that's good. That's very good news. Now with that, we've got, let's have a look, we have 6 more turns. We've actually got a fair bit of time. So what I'm inclined to do is do one more set of training for these guys. It'll take 3 turns. You pick your lowest one, which is 15.8, and you a booster again. Okay, what are you? You have been training in space probes. Excellent. You can go back and help get Sputnik 2 on board. Now, important to keep in mind, the furthest left person contributes the full amount of their skill. This person here doesn't contribute the full amount, so sometimes cutting off the end person to train them and then to replace them as the leader when they level up, and you can cycle through that way, is a more efficient way of doing it. You get diminishing returns the more people you put on. So this guy I could probably send off and train again in something else, and I think I will actually do that now that I've talked myself into it. probably going to put you back into crewed spacecraft, simply because being a leader will really help us to pull ahead. Now just to double check our goals here, we need a minimum of 250 prestige. We've got that minimum, we're not going to lose the game. If we do get that, our budget will increase by $1,050, mega dollars or whatever, $1 million perhaps, will increase slightly. But if we get up to or greater than 2,500 prestige, we will get 8,000 quarterly budget, and that's huge. That's what we need if we want to keep beating the Americans. If we get anything in between those amounts, we will get a scaled amount. So right now we'd be looking at, I don't know, maybe 6,000 quarterly budget if we ran out of time. But I am aiming for that top level one, and that's what we need. And we can get that, provided nothing goes wrong with Sputnik 1 and 2, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Oh, it's night time. Quick look at the Sputnik 2 program. Well, first let's have a quick look at 1. If we were to launch 1, we would get another 500 prestige, simply because Earth orbiting satellite, radio signals, and Sputnik 1, these goals have already been achieved. We're not putting the first rocket up there anymore, the first satellite in orbit. That's already been done. We can't get that prestige twice. We will still get a bit for a successful launch, but we're risking quite a bit if we fail, if something goes wrong. So I'm not actually going to launch that. And see, this one's very low because we've already done this particular mission before. We haven't done the extended one, which is part of that bonus. Now looking at number 2, there are a few more things we can actually achieve here. So we can get 2,150, and that's not counting the fact that we've already got these 2 mission ones. We've already put a satellite in orbit, so we're not going to get a bonus for that. And we've already got radio signals. So you could skip Sputnik 1 entirely and go to number 2, but then you would miss out on the baseline prestige for launching as well. So quite a bit. We get a study of microorganisms, magnetic field, and Sputnik 2 itself has its own little prestige, and that's why you do want to do a couple of them in a row if you can. So 1 and 2 synergize very well together. So I'm inclined to mosey on and continue. Now our rocket is actually, I probably wasted a turn now. Our rocket is basically as good as it's going to get. We can't R&D it anymore. We can use it and it will get better. We will learn how to use it better. But in terms of R&D, we just wasted that. So what we're actually going to do is consider moving. You know what, let's cancel the Sputnik 1 program. We don't need to keep it open, and it is costing us a little tiny bit of money each turn. What we can... You know what, let's take you guys off and let's go have a look at you. What do you actually look like? Okay, we've got your rocket, human rated rockets. You can do crewed spacecraft is good, and regular rockets, and you are human rated. So I'm actually going to train you in human rated. I'm going to train you in crewed spacecraft. I'm going to train you in human rated. So when we begin moving into manned missions or crewed missions, we will have better people for that. So we begin to scale back some of our satellites. We're going to need to keep satellite people. Lunar probes are a phenomenally great way of getting prestige because they're cheap and they have a low risk in terms of prestige loss if you fail. But they're not the main focus. We definitely do want to get a man to the moon or a person to the moon. Could be a woman. We actually do have... We've got 2 women so far, so it could be one of these could go to the moon first. Although she, she is a little bit old. She may not make it. We'll find out. She may retire before we get there. Again, I'm not sure how that works. But I do know they can retire. Okay, that's that one done. Sputnik 2's leveling up. People have been training. Okay, next turn I think we may look at launching Sputnik 2. Let me think about this. It takes 3 turns to train, which means we'll have 1 left if we launch how are we going to do this? We could train these two one more time. Let me have a look. What do we need for a Sputnik 2 launch? Sputnik 2 requires... It requires all 5. Okay, so... one of them, I can't leave them behind training. I will be using all of them. So you guys obviously are not needed just yet. So you can go back to training. Get your piloting up. Be useful for the spaceship. You can keep going. You actually got very good piloting. I may use you as a test dummy, because you are higher than the other two. You know, I'm going to leave these two here for one more turn. Let's have a quick look. How long have we got? It's going to be a bit risky, but it will be worth a shot. Let's end this turn and see how it goes. Okay, 67 is a very low percentage, but increased morale is good. It may be worthwhile to launch off. How do I want to do this? No, I don't. I want to wait a couple more turns. I'm not going to train them though. Now their morale will go down slightly, but that's something I'm going to have to put up with. Crewed spacecraft. Your crewed spacecraft is very good. So I'm actually going to open this particular mission, this program. I'm going to open the program. You can see there's a lot of flight missions we can run here. And we are going to actually stick you on that. And we will need a different rocket for it as well. This one is just an airdrop, which is fine. But then here we'll need a human-rated rocket that can lift something to suborbital. It's not going into orbit, 4,500 kilos. And I'll tell you what, our Sputnik booster ain't going to do that. Let's have a look at the ones that can do that. The Vostok booster is the smallest one that can. And these other ones we need to upgrade our rocket thing for. But we could theoretically build a massive mega booster. It's got a lot of little thrusters on it. We could theoretically use one of these. It's an absolute waste of money, but we could do that. Anyway, let's go back. We will not open the Vostok yet because we've got no one to research, and it will cost us money per turn to have open. So we will leave it shut for the time being. What we are going to do is end turn. Okay, that's good. And you are very difficult to research. You can see why this is not the best ideal opener. This will form the bulk of our prestige in the next period, provided this one works. Okay, the Americans have put the Explorer 1 satellite up. They are pretty much... Oh, okay, so they've done more. They've done the study of the magnetic field and all that stuff, which we can get from Sputnik 2. So they've put a more... Explorer 1 is a more comprehensive mission. But we actually beat them up there in terms of getting into orbit first. So what have we got here? We have our different people. What I'm going to do is... Your crewed spacecraft. Human-rated. Okay, you're crewed. You're going to work on that. Our human-rated person is actually going to... We don't want the lunar. We want the Vostok booster. Vostok, you two are going to work on getting the Vostok booster designed. You can see it's considerably more difficult to design. Has a higher reliability, but again not near as high as the Americans can get theirs. And it is a lot more expensive to have open. It's nearly twice the price to have open each turn. We are actually losing money currently. So perhaps opening that other one was not a bright idea. We have 2 more turns though. So what we're actually going to do is next episode, we're going to launch the Sputnik 2. So I've been Blxz. This has been Buzz Aldrin, Space Program Manager. Make sure to smash that thumbs up button if you do indeed enjoy the content. And make sure to come back next time as we try and launch a new rocket up and get our prestige over that crucial threshold. Take care and I'll see you then.